Today, we're going to tackle a really unique challenge. We're going to deconstruct how an artist takes a deep, pretty complex theological idea and somehow translates it into a single, silent image. I mean, it's a fascinating puzzle, right? Okay, let's dive in. So it really all boils down to this one question. How do you paint a prayer? How do you possibly take a concept that lives in scripture and a devotion and give it form and color and light without using a single word? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down. So let's think about this like a funnel. We're starting at the widest point, which is the core creative problem. The whole goal is to take a rich, layered devotional text and distill it down into one single compelling visual that you get, instantly. And here's the specific assignment. The artist has to create an illustration for the devotional living hope, and the theme is an altar made of mercy. Now, this isn't just about making a pretty picture, not at all. It's about visually embodying a really profound spiritual idea. Okay, so before an artist can even think about what brush to use or what colors to pick, they have to get the meaning. You have to understand the source. So let's dig into the theological heart of this thing, which all comes from this powerful passage in the book of Romans. Here it is. This one verse is basically the seed for the entire artistic concept. It's this call to offer your actual life, your body, your day-to-day existence as an act of worship. But what does that really mean? And, where does mercy fit into all this? And this right here is the absolute key. The devotion makes it crystal clear. This offering, this sacrifice, it's not a transaction. You're not trying to strike a bargain with God to get mercy. It's the complete opposite. It's a thank you offering, a response to the mercy that you've already been given. It's like the difference between paying for a gift versus writing a thank you note for one. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because you have this strange paradox, a living sacrifice. I mean, sacrifices usually die, right? But the source material explains that the resurrection of Christ completely flips this image on its head. This isn't about some dead effort on an altar. It's about a life made vibrant and new, a life animated by grace that's offered back to God in active worship. And this whole offering isn't just some external action you perform. It's an internal process. The real goal is a complete renewal of the mind, a transformation away from the pressures of the world. And that feeling is absolutely critical. The final artwork has to somehow convey this sense of ongoing internal change. Okay, so we've got the what, the big idea. Now let's get into the how. How does an artist actually communicate all of that? Well, they have to use a very specific visual language, a set of rules for style and color to speak this silent message. You see, the artist isn't just starting from a totally blank canvas. They have to match the established look and feel of the entire Living Hope series. And you can see the rules here. It has to be painterly, sacred, the lighting has to be cinematic but gentle. These guidelines are there to make sure every single image in the series shares this consistent, luminous, and reverent atmosphere. And the color palette? Whoa, it is incredibly specific. The light isn't just light. It's warm, amber, and gold, the color of resurrection light. And it's meant to feel like grace itself is literally breaking into the scene. And the shadows? They're not just dark. They're these deep navies and charcoals, designed to create a feeling of contemplative stillness. Every color choice is telling part of the story. And this is the central visual tool right here. The tension, the contrast between that deep, reverent darkness and the warm, holy light, that's where the story happens. That's how the artist visually tells the story of mercy entering our world, of transformation happening in those quiet spaces. It's beautiful. Okay, so we have the meaning, we have the style, we have the color palette. Now we get to the final layer of constraints. And these are the very specific nuts and bolts rules of composition that frame this sacred moment. So these are the technical blueprints. And what's interesting is how practical they are. The image has to work as a perfect square for one social media feed, but it also has to be croppable to a vertical rectangle for another. The subject has to be centered. The scene must be uncluttered. See, these aren't just arbitrary artistic choices, they're functional constraints that serve a real-world digital purpose. But here's why those rules are so important. They aren't there to limit creativity, not at all. They're there to focus it. By forcing a central subject in clear space and a balanced frame, the rules basically eliminate all the visual noise. They create the quiet that's needed for a feeling of stillness and depth and wonder to really come through. All right, let's bring it all home. How in the world does an artist take that deep theology of a living sacrifice, merge it with this painterly style, this palette of mercy, and these strict compositional rules to create the final piece? Well, it pretty much comes down to a final check like this one. Does the image answer yes to all of these questions? Does it actually capture the core concept? Does the mood feel right? Is the light doing its job of representing grace? And hey, does it meet all the technical requirements? It's really a perfect blend of spirit and structure. And that brings us to the end. So now I'm going to turn the challenge over to you. After seeing all these layers, the theology, the style, the rules, if you were the artist who had to paint this prayer, what would you create? What single image, for you, captures an altar made of mercy? It's a great question to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.